Hello friends, a very good afternoon to all the students. Am I audible to all? Okay, thank you for the positive response. So friends, if you remember in the last session, we have started the discussion related to one of the interesting unit of the subject of basic mechanical engineering. We have started the discussion related to the chapter 11 that consists of the couplings, clutches and brakes. And in last few sessions, we have perfectly understood the concepts of the couplings and the clutches. Let us now proceed further and understand the third part of this chapter, that is the brakes. So these are the main contents of the current session. In this session, you will be understanding some of the basic concepts related to the brakes. Then we will be understanding the classification of the brakes. Moving further, we will be understanding the working of the different mechanical brakes. And finally, we will understand the comparison between the drum brake and the disc brake. Also, we will understand one of the important comparison between the brake and the clutch. So friends, I hope you have heard the term that is the brake. The brake is mostly used in the automobiles. So let us understand firstly some of the basic concepts. So a brake is a mechanical device which produces the frictional resistance against the moving machine member, thus to slow down or stop the motion of the machine. So basically the brake is a mechanical device which is used in the automobiles or the mechanical system, which is primarily used for slowing down or stopping the motion of the machine. And in order to slow down or stop the motion, in the brake it produces the frictional resistance against the moving machine member. In the process of performing this function of braking, the brakes absorb the kinetic energy in the case of the automobile brakes, whereas when we consider the application of the hoist or the elevator brakes, the brake, they absorb the potential energy of the lowering member. The hoist or the elevators, the elevator cranes, they are used mainly for transferring the load from one place to the another place. So in that application also we are using the brakes. So in that particular application, the brakes absorb the potential energy of the lowering member. Whereas in the simple sense, for the concept of the automobile brakes, they generally absorb the kinetic energy. Now we have understood that during the operation of the brake, the friction will be developed. So because of the friction, the heat energy is produced during the braking, and this heat energy needs to be dissipated into the surroundings, so that to prevent the excessive heating of the brake line. So during the operation of the brakes, for the design of the brakes, it is very essential to provide some space for the cooling of the brake, so that the life of the brake lining can be increased. Some of the applications of the brakes includes the automobiles, the trains, hoists, elevators, presses, and other similar machines. So friends, these are some of the basic fundamental concepts related to the brakes. Let us now proceed further and understand the automobile brake system. So this is the simple arrangement of the brake system in the automobile. The main components includes the first one, that is the master cylinder, which contains the piston assembly and the brake fluid. The second component or the working fluid, that is the brake fluid. It is used for transferring the hydraulic pressure which is applied on the brake pedal. The third component are the brake lines and the hoses. So this component, they carry the brake fluid to the brake assembly. The next component, that is the disc brake, which includes the caliper, the pads, and the rotor. And in this session only, we are going to understand in detail the concept about the disc brake, the working of the disc brake, and the final component, that is the drum brake, which includes the shoes, the wheel cylinder, and the drum. When we consider the simple automobile, generally on the front wheels, the disc brakes are provided, whereas on the rear wheels, the back wheels, the drum brake is provided. This is just the practical understanding related to the automobile brake system. Let us now proceed further and understand the classification of the brakes. The brakes are mainly classified into the mechanical brakes, the electrical brakes, and the hydraulic brakes. But considering your syllabus of basic mechanical engineering, only you need to focus on the mechanical brakes. The mechanical brakes are further subdivided into 4 types. The first type, that is the block brake, which is further divided into the single block and the double block brake. The second one, that is the band brake, which is further classified as the simple band brake and the differential band brake. The third mechanical brake and the most important practically used brake, that is the internal expanding shoe brake, or practically it is known as the drum brake. And the fourth one, that is the disc brake. So friends, now we will be concentrating and understanding the concepts of the several mechanical brakes. So this is the first type of the mechanical brake, that is the block brake. The block brake on the basis of the number of shoes or the number of the blocks used in the brake are classified as the single block brake and the double block brake. So firstly, let us understand the concept related to the single block brake. And friends, Let me inform you that whenever you are asked the question of the brakes in the examination, theoretical examination, compulsory, you need to draw the two images. The first image can be the brake not in the action, the brakes are not applied. And the second image is the condition when the brake is in action, the brake is applied. So always remember that during the examination, compulsory draw both the images so that the concept becomes perfectly clear. You can easily write down the theoretical points and score good marks in the examination. So the first simplest type of the block brake, that is the single block brake, or can be considered as the single shoe brake. In the first image, we are seeing that a single shoe is connected with the lever and we are having the brake wheel. In the first image, we are observing that there is no contact between the brake shoe and the brake wheel. No friction is developed between both these components. So we can tell that the brake wheel is free to rotate. And in other way, we can tell that the brake is not in action. The brake is not applied. But in the next case, whenever we are applying the force on the lever in the downward direction, as you can observe in the image, the shoe will be moving in the downward direction. The friction material of the shoe will be coming in contact with the rotating brake wheel. And now the frictional resistance will be developed on the brake wheel. And thus the speed of the brake wheel will be reduced. And at one point of the time, there will be the total stoppage of the motion of the brake wheel. So friends, now let me ask you the question, is the concept clear to all related to the single block brake? Have you all understood the concept of the single block brake? It is very easy to understand. Let us now proceed further and understand the next type of the block brake, that is the double block brake. In the image, you can observe that there are two blocks or two shoes are provided for the braking operation. But friends, remember that this is the special type of the brake which is used in the elevator cranes. For the load lifting purposes in the elevator cranes, this type of the brake is generally used. So in the image, whenever you are seeing that the brake bell crank lever is supplied by the external force, that is P, the spring which is provided will undergo the compression. I am repeating once again, when the force is applied on the bell crank lever, that is represented by P in the diagram, the spring undergoes the compression. Because of the compression of the spring, now both the blocks which are provided in the assembly, they will be moving in the outward direction. I am repeating once again, when the spring is compressed, because of the compression of the spring, now the two blocks or the shoes will be moving in the outward direction. So because of this outward movement of the shoes, the brake wheel will be free to rotate. And generally in the elevator cranes, the force P is applied by means of the solenoid or by means of some mechanical components. Now in the case when there is no force applied on the bell crank lever, the spring again retains its original position. The spring will be retaining its original position. The spring will be elongated. So because of this movement of the spring, now the brake blocks will be moving in the inward direction. Both the blocks will be moving in the inward direction. Thus, they will provide the frictional resistance on the rotating brake wheel, and thus now the motion of the brake wheel will be stopped. So this image represents the brake not in the action, because you can observe that the force is applied, the spring is compressed, and there is the gap between the block and the brake wheel. So we can tell that the wheel is free to rotate, no brakes are applied. But in the next case, you can see that when no force is applied on the bell crank lever, the spring attains its normal position. There is the contact between the brake wheel and the two blocks. So in this case, we can tell that the brakes are applied on the brake wheel. So this logic or the modification of the double block brake, that is the example of the brakes which are used in the bicycles. Dear friends, if you remember in our childhood days when we were small, all of us have driven the bicycle. And in the bicycle, we have observed that there was the brake. The brakes was of the type of the double block brake, because if you remember, there were two rubber pads were provided in the brake. And when we were applying the brake lever, because of the string action, the spring was compressed, and finally the brake pads, they come in contact with the cycle wheel rim. Because of this coming in contact of the brake blocks, rubber pads with the rim, the friction was developed, and gradually the speed of the wheel was reduced. So friends, now let me ask you a practical question. If you remember your childhood days, the life of the rubber pads was very small in the cycle brakes. Are you remembering that point? The life of the rubber pads was very small in the cycle brakes. How many students are satisfied with my statement? How many students are agreeing with my statement? I want your confirmations in the chat box. Okay, thank you all. Because friends, if you observe the rubber pads in the cycle brakes, they were having a special design of the projection and the notch. The triangular section was provided on the rubber pads, and because of the gradual friction taking place between the rubber pads and the rim of the wheel, in the long run, the friction developed was flattening the rubber pads. The rubber pads were flattened. So by making the contact with the wheel rim, They did not provide the amount of the friction required to be produced, and though the rubber pads, the flattened rubber pads were there in the assembly, still we were not achieving the braking action. Dear students, are you remembering these practical concepts? Are you remembering all these points which I am telling? Are you satisfying with my points which I am discussing? Let me get your confirmations if you are satisfying with my points, the explanation which I am telling, because all these points are not mentioned in the textbook, but it is very essential to have some of the practical understanding related to the brakes. I want the maximum responses of the students, because all of us has driven the bicycle in the childhood days, and all of us has faced the same problem of the rubber pads. We all have faced the same problems of the rubber pads in the cycle brakes. So this is a simple example of the double block brake. Let us proceed further to the next type of the brake, that is the bend brake. In this case, a bend is used for providing the friction to the rotating drum and gradually stopping the motion of the moving member. The main components are the operating lever, the fulcrum, that is the fixed point. From one of the point of the operating lever and from the fixed point, a steel band is wound around the brake drum. When we apply the force on the lever, the band is tightened on the rotating drum. Because of this tightening of the steel band on the rotating drum, the friction is developed, and because of the friction produced, the speed of the drum gradually decreases. So this is the simple case of the bend brake. The another modification or the another type of the bend brake, that is the differential bend brake. Only the modification is in the design of the fulcrum or the design of the operating lever. In the simple bend brake, the band was connected to the fulcrum and a point on the operating lever. But in the differential band brake, now the band is not connected to the fulcrum, but it is connected on the other end of the operating lever. So the advantage of using the differential band brake is that in this case, the area of contact between the band and the brake drum is increased. So because of this increased area of contact, we need to provide less amount of force for the braking purpose. I am repeating this technical point once again. In the differential band brake, since the band is connected to the end of the operating lever, the area of contact between the band and the steel drum or the brake drum increases. So because of this increased area of contact, now the force required to apply the brake reduces. Whereas in case of the simple band brake, we need to apply more amount of the force. And also, if you understand the technical concept, the direction of operating the lever is also different. You can observe that in the simple band brake, the force needs to be applied in the vertical direction for the braking action. Whereas in the differential band brake, you can observe that the force needs to be applied in the downward direction. So these are the main concepts related to the band brake. Now let us proceed further and understand the most important type of the mechanical brake, that is the internal expanding shoe brake or the drum brake. Most important question which is frequently asked in the examination. And friends, in the brake compulsory you need to draw both the images, the brake not in action and the brake in action. The main components of the drum brake includes the two shoes, that is S1 and S2, the brake drum, that is the outer drum, the friction lining which is provided on the outer surface of the two shoes. Connecting the two shoes, we are having the elastic spring, then we are having the cam attachment and the operating lever. In the first case, since there is no operation, the force is not applied on the operating lever, the brake drum is free to rotate, the brake is not in the action. But now when the operating lever is operated by the driver or applying the foot pedal, the spring will be elongated, the spring will be moving in the outward direction. Because of this, the shoes will be moving in the outward direction. The friction lining will be coming in contact with the rotating brake drum, and thus the speed of the brake drum will be reduced gradually. Now, in order to perfectly understand the concept of the drum brake, let me show you the animation of the drum brake. So, observing this animation, now I think the picture of the working of the drum brake is perfectly clear in your minds. Dear students, are you understanding the concept? This is somewhat the modification of the drum brake because it is the practical type of the drum brake. And the image which is given in your textbook, that is the theoretical approach just for the understanding. Let me know from your side, is the concept clear to all related to the working? Have you all understood the working of the drum brake? I want maximum responses of the students so that I can proceed further. Kindly share your response if you have understood the working by seeing this animation. Okay, thank you for sharing the maximum answers, responses. So let us now proceed further and understand the next practically important type of the mechanical brake, that is the disc brake. The main components includes the caliper, the outer cylinder, then we are having the actuating piston, the friction pads are provided, the revolving disc, and they are also provided with the fluid lines because this brake will be totally operated by the fluid entering the caliper. When the driver is pressing the foot pedal or the brake lever, the fluid enters the caliper or the cylinder. Because of the entry of the hydraulic fluid, the piston will be moving in the inward direction. This movement of the piston will be providing the friction pad to come in contact with the revolving disc. So because of the contact of the friction pads with the revolving disc, now due to the friction, the frictional resistance will be provided and gradually the speed of the revolving disc will be reduced. and thus finally the speed of the shaft will be reduced. So friends, in order to perfectly understand the working of the disc brake, let me show you the animation so that now the concept will be perfectly clear. The blue portion represents the pressurized fluid which gives the motion to the actuating piston. You can see that how the pistons are moving in the inward direction, applying the frictional resistance on the rotating disc, and finally the rotation of the wheel is stopped. Let me know from your side if the concept is clear to all related to the disc brake. Okay, fine. Thank you all for sharing the positive responses. So now let us understand some of the points of the comparison between the disc brake and the drum brake. So the first parameter, that is the friction surfaces. So the disc brake is directly exposed to the atmospheric cooled air if you have observed practically, whereas the drum brake is connected with the wheel on the inside periphery of the wheel. Thus, in the drum brake, the friction surfaces are not directly exposed to the atmospheric cooled air. The overall weight of the brake, if we consider, then the disc brake is having less weight, whereas because of the several components, because of the mechanical design, the drum brake possesses more weight. If we consider the design and the construction, the disc brake is simple in design and construction, whereas the drum brake design is not so simple. If we consider the adjusting ability, the disc brakes are having the self-adjusting ability, whereas when we consider the drum brakes needs to have either the manual or the automatic brake adjustment. Next point is the important one, that is the parking brake performance. So disc brake is having the poor parking brake performance, whereas the drum brake is having the excellent parking brake performance. And friends, if you have observed in the cars, whenever we are parking the cars for the safety of the cars, always we are preferring to apply the parking brakes. Dear students, are you aware of this practical point of applying the parking brakes during the parking of the cars, the higher version of the automobiles? So the parking brakes, hand brake, that is also the another name of the parking brake. Hand brake is the common name. Parking brake is the technical name, and it is the type of the drum brake. Let us proceed further with some more points. The replacement of the friction pads. So in the disc brake, since it is simple in construction and design, the replacement of the pads is very easy. But in the drum brake, because of the complex construction, it is difficult to replace. If we consider the pressure intensity required in the disc brake, more pressure is required because of the less area of the frictional pads. But when we consider the drum brake, less pressure is required because of the more area of the frictional pads. If you understand the concept technically of the disc brake and the drum brake, then this point will be perfectly clear in your minds. Next point, that is the frictional area of the pads. So disc brake is having very less frictional area, whereas the drum brake will be having a comparatively higher area of the frictional pads. The last point of the comparison, that is the initial cost. The disc brake will be having the higher initial cost, whereas the drum brake will be having the lower initial cost. So these are some points of the comparison between the disc brake and the drum brake. Now let us proceed further and understand the comparison between the brake and the clutch. Remember friends, in your textbook, this comparison is given in the paragraph form. So in the examination, you need to compulsory write down the comparison in this format, that is in the table format. Then only you can present your answer perfectly. You yourself can understand the point and the examiner can understand the points of the comparison and can give good marks for the answer. So the first point, the brake is used to stop or slow down the motion of a moving system, whereas the clutch is used to transmit the power and motion from one shaft to the another shaft. First shaft, that is the driving member, and the another shaft is the driven member. During the braking, we have understood perfectly that the energy of the moving member is lost in the friction, and because of this energy lost only, at one point of the time, the moving member comes to the steady position. Whereas in the clutch, during the working of the clutches, the energy is not lost in the friction except in the case of the clutch slipping. Clutch slipping is the condition when the driving and the driven members are not engaged perfectly. I am repeating once again, clutch slipping is the condition in which the driving member and the driven member are not engaged perfectly. So because of this improper engagement between the two members, the energy can be lost in the friction. And the final point is the most important point of the comparison. In the brake, the automobile vehicles, the brake normally remain in the disengaged position, whereas the clutch, they normally remain in the engaged position. So friends, whenever we as the driver operate the brakes during the automobile operation, then by our force, the brakes move in the engaged condition. Normally, they are in the disengaged condition, but by our force on the brake pedal or the brake lever, we are engaging the brakes to the wheel. But in the case of the clutch, in the normal conditions, the clutch is always in the engaged condition. And whenever we are pressing the clutch pedal, the clutch is disengaged from the system. So this is the main difference between the brake and the clutch. So dear friends, with this, I am concluding the session from my side. Thanks for watching the current session. I hope you have enjoyed the session related to the brakes. Have a nice day. With this, I am completing the session or the chapter, that is couplings, clutches and brakes. Now, if you are having any questions related to the topics discussed in this session, you are free to ask me in the chat box. Any questions from